wouldn't want to get stuck down here. Okay.
Just about fit.
Imagine being the first to come through here. You'd have to be pretty brave.
I'm Joseph Fiennes, and I'm in Egypt for a unique adventure. As an actor, I've been lucky to play a series of fascinating characters.
Emmy nominee for Handmaid's Tale, Joseph Fiennes.
Now I'm here with a man whose story is more extraordinary than any role I could play. Sir Ranulph Fiennes. He's the world's greatest living explorer, and he's my cousin, known to me as Ran. We hardly know each other, partly because he's always been away exploring. But I've grown up with stories of Cousin Ran's remarkable exploits.
Will not come face to face with another human being for 70 days.
From walking unaided to the North Pole, to leading the first surface expedition to have circumnavigated the globe via both poles.
The man the Guinness Book of Records called the greatest living explorer.
Driving himself to extremes.
I got frostbite in the Arctic, and my late wife said, well, why not cut them off? That's the fingertips.
One of Ran's first expeditions was a daring journey following the longest river on Earth, the Nile. And now, 50 years later, I have a chance to fulfill a childhood dream as he takes me back to Egypt to retrace his historic trip.
I'd like to test myself, to really push myself to certain levels and limits, to see where my cutoff point is.
A bump here.
On this challenge of a lifetime, I'm keen to find out what drives Ran to push himself to the limit, and whether I've got what it takes to cut it in his world.
Really very narrow. Eat your heart out, Indiana Jones. Okay, this is kind of scary.
So join me as I take on Egypt with the world's greatest explorer. We're in Alexandria, where my cousin Ran started his adventure half a century ago.
Are we ready for it? Yep.
From here, he traveled 1,000 miles south to Abu Simbel. On the first leg of our attempt to follow that route, I'll be learning to drive off-road through the unforgiving Sahara Desert.
Go. Well done. That's lovely.
Coming face to face with the deadliest creatures in Egypt.
Whoa, that's a cobra!
Exploring newly discovered ancient tombs.
That's amazing!
And by the end of this part of the journey, I'm hoping to understand what makes Ran so adventurous, and whether it's something we share through our family DNA.
50 years ago, when I first came here, it was one of my first big expeditions.
Before we set off, just like Ran did all those years ago, we're going to need a couple of vehicles to cover the 1,000-mile route. For me to get a real understanding of the original expedition, we've scoured the country for one of the last remaining examples of the model Ran used.
That is a real vehicle.
It's not exactly in showroom condition, so to give it a chance of surviving our expedition, we've had to add a few new crucial bits.
I think that wheel's off in this way.
Parts fitted, we're ready to head towards the Nile. But my first challenge is to get myself and the vintage Defender safely out of Alexandria.
Okay, I can't move. I cannot move.
Joe's doing well. So far, we've run nobody over. Good for him.
You can make it out of this city alive. The rest is easy peasy. Whoa, there's a camel there. Whoa! I'm going to try and touch the camel.
Oh, I touched the camel. We're nearly out of Alexandria, and after a few near misses, I feel I'm beginning to get the hang of driving this car.
That second. Woo! There we go. We up to, oh my God, the speedometer doesn't work.
But then,
Hi Joe, you okay? Yeah, slight compression.
Had the bloody handbrake on.
Naughty boy.
yes, not the best of starts. While the temperamental old car recovers from 18 miles with the handbrake on, for now, I jump into our other expedition vehicle as we head towards the Sahara Desert.
I always imagined Ran being defined by the Arctic, cold temperatures, polar bears and what have you. But it's kind of took me by surprise that it was Egypt that he first kind of cut his teeth on in terms of exploring. That's kind of something new that I learned about him. Ran, any useful tips in terms of survival techniques?
In Egypt, the sand storms are dreadful, just unbelievable.
So what do you do in a sandstorm? Say I come out of the tent, suddenly I can see this storm whipping up. What do you do?
Put your goggles on,
Right, don't
get
have
your
the
shawl,
goggles.
wrap the shawl right the way around your head. And if you've got shorts on, you put long trousers on.
Is that because you get stung or whipped by the sand?
It really does, absolutely.
This vast expanse is known as the Western Desert. It stretches from the Mediterranean Sea to the border of Sudan. It's littered with mega dunes tens of miles long. I've never even driven on sand before, but if I'm going to follow Ran's route from 1969, I'm going to need to deal with all sorts of desert terrain. At first sight, it's impossible to tell what lies beneath the surface. And it can change in a split second.
50 years ago, where we'd expected some form of road, get there and find there is no road at all. We were caught in soft sand a hell of a lot. Hot as hell.
So whether I like it or not, I need to get to grips with off-road driving.
It'd be nice to give you a chance to do a bit of sand driving in the car, yeah?
I'd be happy. Would you be happy with a complete novice that has no idea how to navigate deep sand?
Yeah.
I start off by getting a feeling how the car handles on this surface. But the real challenge in the desert is driving over the shifting dunes. 96% of Egypt is covered in searing desert, and the temperatures can reach as high as 48 degrees. This really is the last place you want to get into trouble.
Do you mind if I take this dune?
Don't take the very steep one.
Okay.
Take that one over there at a straight angle. Be careful on the top when you get to the top. Be careful. Right, Joe, give it hell. Give it hell. Go it, go it, go it, go it, go it, go it.
That's a bit of a drop there, isn't it? What do you
Exactly.
think? What do you think?
I would say try again just there. You're still going, it's all right.
I think I'm getting stuck there.
Yeah, in that case, we point that way slightly and go forward slowly. Just keep slowly, that's it. No problem. Right. Try spurt, spurt, spurt.
Do you know what, Ran? Shall I get out and just have a look at that wheel?
Yeah. Yeah, sand channel stuff, that's all. Shovels and sand channels. If you get the sand channels, I'll make a start.
It's incredible to think that even in his 70s, Ran is still leading expeditions. A few months before bringing me here, he was climbing the highest mountain in South America. Clearly just his warm-up.
How does this work, the sand channels?
Sand channels, they go under here.
Yeah.
Okay, one on either side,
Right.
the other way up.
Oh, I see. That's the grip, is it? You on the grip?
Yeah,
oh, I
that's
see,
right.
yeah. Digging yourself out in the burning, burning sun. I don't want to be doing this, really. Mind yourself, Ran.
Yeah, don't worry about me. I'm out the way.
You might get a mouthful of sand.
Doesn't matter.
Okay, here we go.
Okay, stop. No chance. Is that sand channel slipping?
After several attempts in the blistering sun, we had no choice but to call in the film crew to get us out. We may be in a new car, but in these conditions, it's just as easy to get stuck now as it was 50 years ago.
That was great, Ran. Thank you for that. That was
Not at all. It's
my first lesson
a
of
good experience.
But I just can't leave it at that. I need to prove I can handle these dunes. So I've set my sight on the biggest one around. And I'll even try it without the handbrake on.
So here we go. Are you ready? Bump here.
Lovely, beautiful.
My final attempt at dune driving in the Sahara hasn't gone so well.
Yeah, we're all good. We're all good. No, we're all good.
There's something here.
Oh, man. Wow. Yeah.
Practice going up very steep dunes. You're going to go at full pelt.
Bump here. Just hit the dune at like 65, 70 kilometers an hour.
And when you get to the top, apply the brake.
That was the plan, but it didn't quite go according to plan because I didn't stop. And then there was a moment where, just in my mind's eye, I've got it very vividly, where we crashed. It was a little bit of a wake-up call. Ran, how are you feeling?
That was really nice.
You seem cool as a cucumber.
When you're traveling with the world's greatest explorer, I suppose a steep learning curve is inevitable.
Risks are bad. Taking risks is bad if you can avoid it. And that's our motto.
I'm a bit shaken, but it's a lesson learned. Before we settle down for the night, I have a surprise for Ran. I've managed to track down some archive footage of Ran's early adventures, which he hasn't seen in 50 years.
I have the ability to put up a projector and to have sourced footage of Ran going right the way back 50 years through his life. It was just like joyous. Open air cinema night. Just for you.
I'm deeply touched.
Something I'd always wanted to know more about was Ran's life before he was an explorer. I'd heard that he was in the British Special Forces and later based in the Middle East with the army.
There's my boys. We were called Fiend Force. That was what we were called. And we were sent on special missions.
Ran's unit was on covert operations, fighting communist insurgents.
There was 140 of us against 3,000 of them.
Wait. Well, who was that?
That was me, but not on the...
Good-looking young man.
Normally I'm on the camera.
Ran, how old were you there? Do you remember? You were 20...
24.
Yeah.
The more I learn about my cousin Ran, the more surprised and intrigued I am by him.
Cup of tea?
Yeah, please. Cup of tea.
Cup of tea. Oh, do you know what I might do? I saw someone do it like this. Ow!
Oh, that hurt. Oh.
Ow! I won't try that again.
No, that really must...
How'd you say cheers again?
If you get it dead right, you get 10 quid off. Salash nahel, nahul nahel, nahul nahish nahar.
Salash nahel, nanur hi, nanir hel nanar.
As we continue our journey, Ran is keen to take me somewhere that reveals even more about the Fiennes family and will perhaps give me greater insight into what motivates him.
The records of the finds since the year 715, father, son, for 48 generations in the family tree. We've had a lot of finds who've led British armies. It can't be bad because it shows a certain nerve. We're not very far away now from El Alamein, and at El Alamein is actually where the Second World War began to turn in favor of the Allies.
El Alamein is somewhere of huge significance to Ran, and through our shared family to me as well, because it's where his father led the Royal Scots Greys tank regiment in World War II.
He was an incredibly brave guy. He was wounded 5 times, and he always got back to the tank regiment in time for the next big push. He was #1 bloke in the tanks in terms of getting through the great minefields at that time.
And you all know this better than me, we're staying in convoy because the areas to our right and left are potentially riddled with mines from the Second World War.
It's the most heavily mined area in the world, or something. Yeah.
During the war, the Germans nicknamed this area the Devil's Garden because of the 16 million unexploded mines buried somewhere out here. Even today, it's still considered to be incredibly dangerous terrain.
It's kind of not quite how I imagined.
No. How did you imagine it?
Well, I don't know, I felt like it was more
Sand
just
dunes.
perfect, yeah.
The Arabs call it Nejd. It's neither the sand dunes nor the mountains. It's just this sort of stuff.
We have to follow the exact tracks of our police escort in order to avoid any potential landmines. Out on the El Alamein battlefield, Rand takes me back to his army days and gives me a crash course in defusing anti-tank mines with nothing more than a Swiss Army knife.
Gently go like that. Even to get there, you have to be careful because there might be anti-personnel mines laid around there. You get to the mine, you dig underneath like that without touching it, slowly. You then dig very carefully all around with your hands, not with a spade, around here. You then get the Swiss Army knife, which we had, which is different to this one, with a gimlet thing, and you stick it under to where the bloke has taken the pin out. The last thing he's done, carefully, is to take the pin out. So you shove that in place of the pin, okay? Then you can pick up your anti-tank mine like that.
70 years ago, here in El Alamein, the Allied forces of the British Empire went head-to-head with the combined forces of Germany and Italy in a conflict involving 1,500 tanks. Like his dad, my cousin Ran also served in the Royal Scots Greys tank regiment.
I've still got my dad's telescope that he used here.
Right here from Alamein.
Right here from Alamein. You would come up like that, and you would see, there's good target German tanks. And then, having worked out with binoculars the exact range of your targets, tank 500, fire. You're watching through binoculars, you've seen the shots gone slightly overhead. Drop 200, fire. Next target right, go on, fire. Next target left, go on, fire.
Rand's father fought in the Battle of El Alamein. It raged from October to November 1942. By the end of it, the German and Italian armies were defeated by the Allies.
The Axis forces in the Western Desert are now in full retreat.
But the human cost of victory was high.
Age 23, 28. Young man.
61,000 soldiers from both sides were killed or injured here. Rand's father survived the battle, but tragically died in action a year later, just 4 months before Rand was born.
I respect him, and I grew up wanting to be like him, including copying him, being commanding officer of the Royal Scots Greys Regiment. In Antarctica, when you're feeling really lousy and you've got gangrene and frostbite, and a weak voice comes into your head saying you want to stop, I just reckon to myself that my dad and my granddad are watching me, and I don't want to do anything to make them ashamed, like being the first to give up.
Traveling with Ran, it's every moment there's a new chapter revealed. Could I do what Ran does? Do I share those same genetic traits that propel you to find yourself in a different landscape?
Ran clearly never wanted to let his father down. Something we can all relate to. In many ways, I guess, I don't want to let Ran down on our expedition. "200 miles into our journey, we find ourselves in Cairo for my next test. It's my first time in Egypt, and despite the prospect of an unknown challenge, I can't help but be excited to be in the capital city.
It looks best to turn right before the pyramid.
Okay, fair enough. Do love a bit of humor, and I love the one-liners. Not that I deliver them well, but they just make me chuckle. And I've been trying out one or two one-liners on Ran, and, you know, it's like tumbleweed. There's no response.
Expeditions are no laughing matter for Ran. In fact, over the last 50 years, he's developed his own unique technique for vetting who has what it takes.
On any expedition I've gone to with a new person, we've drummed into them what those dangers are. We call it the black picture. Water, you had to make damn sure you didn't get it out of the river because you could get bilharzia. The little tiny thing which burrows away from the sun into your blood and can kill you 10 years later. A lot of mosquitoes and midges all over the place. Desert sores. How do you think you'd cope with that sort of thing? You're constantly itching.
Ran has good reason to be concerned about worst-case scenarios. When he got frostbite on an expedition in the Arctic, he famously cut off his own fingers.
You tighten it up in the obvious manner, and you do one finger at a time. And if it bleeds or hurts, you move it down to get further into the dead bit and away from the live bit. And the thumb took a very long time. And we did it like that, and then we came round and did it like that. Far side there, moved round, and it took 2 days to get through the thumb. That's the fingertips.
Wow.
You can see the bone where the bone was in the middle there.
That's the bone there?
Yeah, there's 4. I don't know what happened to the other one.
Wow.
Yeah.
I've no idea how I'll cope in extreme situations, but Ran has a plan to help me find out.
You don't know how you will react necessarily to certain insects and scorpions and furry creatures, slithery creatures. Basically, we're going to a place which houses all manner of furry and slithery creatures.
So this is essentially your health and safety prep.
One of them, yes. Yeah.
Based just outside Cairo, the Tolba family specializes in dealing with deadly snakes and insects.
So your anxiety level at the moment is what, out of 1 to 5?
It's about 2, but I don't want to seem too hysterical.
No. Well,
Hysterical.
you look calm, Joe, at the moment.
There are species of snake in Egypt so poisonous that their venom can kill in a matter of minutes.
Scorpions.
The scorpion, the Arabian fat tail, is almost as lethal.
Oh, look at that. He's really pissed.
Not a happy scorpion.
Not a happy scorpion. If he stung me, what are the effects?
لا ممكن لو ما خدش ماسك ممكن يموت.
Yeah, if you didn't take the antivenom, yeah, you're going to die.
Yes.
This is spider.
Oh, I see. Okay,
Egyptian.
fine. Okay.
Look at those pincers. That does raise my anxiety level. I don't know why.
Snakes, spiders, scorpions, all the rest of it, are reacting to the presence of fear on the other person, making sure that he's not going to suddenly get anxious if he runs into a huge furry spider or a horned viper or something else like that. Meeting them and having them crawl all over you, that sort of thing. A little bit of preparation is important.
What's the bite like?
Yeah, he said it's like mosquitoes.
Well, how big are the mosquitoes here?
No, mosquitoes here. You will see.
Right.
Yeah.
And there's me thinking that might be it for the test. That we might stop at mosquitoes or the Arabian fat tail. But no, they've saved the worst till last. To truly test my nerves, our hosts have kindly decided to break out an Egyptian cobra.
Very dangerous.
It bites, it takes from 20 minutes to 30 minutes, and then die.
And then die. Whoa. Don't make him angry. Don't make him angry. Whoa! Whoa, whoa, whoa. That's a cobra! Whoa!
The Tolba family hunts these deadly creatures in the desert and then milks them for their venom to provide an antidote if bitten. A skill that takes years of training.
He's dancing with it. Okay, no, don't do anything where he's going to get bitten, please. Please, don't overdo it. Don't.
Sleep.
You put it to sleep.
Sleep, yeah.
It's sleeping now.
Sleep, yeah.
So he learned his skills from his father.
Yeah.
And will he teach his skills to his children?
وانت هتعلم يوسف والاطفال الباقيين.
Yeah.
Yep.
So it goes generation.
Yeah, من جيل لجيل.
Beautiful,
Yeah.
beautiful. Ran has a handle on fear. He's written about fear. He understands fear better than anyone. So it's quite interesting when he wanted to test me and the environment that we might find ourselves in.
With my black picture training complete, I'm itching to prove to Ran that I can cope with anything expedition life can throw at me.
I don't have phobias of snakes and spiders, but I am wary of them and I wouldn't want to personally go up close to them when I've got a funny feeling that might happen.
We're now almost 300 miles into our trip, following Ran's original route through Egypt.
See this road? That does bring back memories.
Really, bumpy and dusty. Oh my God. Look at all that maze. That is amazing.
It's amazing how far the fertility of the Nile reaches on the sides.
So do you think this is all
Because of the Nile.
because of the Nile?
Yes.
The Nile is the longest river in the world, stretching over 4,000 miles from source to sea. It cuts a life-giving path through 11 countries. These banks are home to the Nile Valley town of El Minya. For the ancient Egyptians, El Minya's limestone cliffs were considered an ideal spot to carve out their tombs.
In 1969, I had read something about the gruesome things to be seen in El Minya underground. I had desperately wanted to do that.
But when Ran's expedition team drove through here 50 years ago, they had no time to properly explore the region.
I was reading that when you entered El Minya, 50 years ago, the police chief who welcomed you said, "This is incredible. This is the first tourist convoy in 10 years."
10 years,
Isn't
that's
that
exactly
incredible?
right. Yeah.
As we head to the outskirts of town, we drive towards a recently discovered archaeological site.
You just couldn't Google this El Minya catacomb, could you? And just say, let's do a day trip out here. You just get completely lost.
Very few people have explored these catacombs, and I've no idea what to expect. And for the first time on our Egyptian adventure, neither does Ran. As we approach the El Minya tombs, an armed guard appears.
That looks interesting.
Yeah.
The guards are here to protect the valuable burial sites.
Do you see that with the Kalashnikov slung over the shoulder? I would love that look on my motorbike.
Got it, yeah.
Oh, he nearly fell over. He knows you're filming. They're filming, they're filming. I've got to stand up and be macho.
Have you ever thought that way when you're sort of on set?
Oh, I get the stuntmen to do it for me. I mean, you know, there's a lot of actors who say I do my own stunts. I'm the first to say I don't do my own stunts because someone does it much better and makes me look much better. Ran, if this is what it's like in 2018, imagine what it was like 50 years ago. I mean, coming across this, you would never find it. Look at that.
These particular tombs were only discovered about a year ago. They're still largely untouched, which is why Ran is keen for us to see them.
It was like an Indiana Jones set. I mean, you walk there and immediately you think, Indy, and Harrison Ford running away from snakes and stones. Hello, it's me, Joe. Mohammed.
اسمي بخيت ولا ران؟
In 2017, archaeologist Mohammed spotted snake tracks here in the sand. They led him to an entrance of an undiscovered subterranean complex, full of ancient tombs.
This is a snake.
Met a nasty head. Which would you say that was?
That's not a horned viper,
Not
no.
a horned
No horns.
It's a viper?
Yeah,
Viper.
yeah.
First time we make like this to show if it's next here or not. If it clearly and if it's safe, protected, okay, we remove the cover like this. Lahi.
They first have to check if they're snakes, then they remove the cover.
And the ladder.
This is a shot. How many meters?
It's 5.5 meters.
Descending into snake-infested tombs is a bit different to your regular day on a film set.
Are we crawling?
Yeah, right.
But for Ran, these are exactly the type of challenging conditions he encountered when he and a team of archaeologists found a lost city in Oman.
The lost city of Ubar mysteriously disappeared 2,000 years ago.
We spent 26 years, 8 big expeditions looking for a lost city in the Rub al-Khali, or empty quarter, the biggest sand desert in the world.
They eventually found the lost city of Ubar in 1992, and it made headlines around the world.
Today, Sir Ranulph Fiennes believes he has pieced together an historical jigsaw which has led him to the remains of the lost city.
It was the best memory of an expedition of my life.
I'm hoping that exploring these newly unearthed tombs will be just as thrilling. But before we descend, our team's health and safety advisor alerts us to the dangers we may face below.
Okay, just when we go down in the tunnel, we just need to be really, really careful. It's a confined space. We need to be cautious of where we are putting our hands, but purely for the fact that if you go to step over a sarcophagus, the potential for a viper to be down there is quite high.
Alerted to the threat of snakes below me, we begin our descent. This is a real test for my ability to deal with the unknown, and I don't want to let Ran down.
This is really very narrow.
We are 18 feet underground. It's hot and claustrophobic. And there are 200 feet of narrow tunnels still ahead.
No way out. Pray to God there are no vipers here. There's no way out. Quick. What's that? It's like a tube.
It's like nothing I've done before.
Imagine being the first to come through here. You'd have to be pretty brave. You wouldn't want to get stuck down here.
Yeah, just about fit.
When Mohammed and his team discovered this ancient site, they had to dig out tons of sand and debris to access the tombs. But they soon realized that they weren't the first visitors. There are still telltale signs of lanterns blackening the walls.
You can see the burn marks from all the robbers.
Grave robbers first entered these tombs in the 1970s, a few years after Ran's original expedition passed through El Minya. They then lay forgotten for almost half a century until being rediscovered just a year ago. So far, the excavators have uncovered 9 burial chambers, all connected by small tunnels carved out by the tomb raiders who pillaged many of the treasures here.
Oh, look at the game with squares, yes.
Hideous destruction of the robbers. Such a shame. But I guess, in one way, this has been discovered. And if there are more, then maybe those, God willing, are completely preserved.
Down here, you never quite know what's round the next corner.
Coming through. Yowie.
The new tombs at El Minya hide real treasures.
Okay, we found the first thing. This is a sarcophagus here. Wow. Okay.
So this is for a very important person.
Yeah. It's very important.
Beautiful faith. Beautiful.
This sarcophagus is thought to have belonged to someone who lived here in El Minya over 2,500 years ago.
It feels so pure and undiscovered, and such a privilege to be here and looking at something like this.
It's as if you're with Mohammed on his first discovery of this. How overjoyed it was. Like after 26 years when we discovered the lost city in Arabia, that same sort of feeling, but this is much more eerie and sort of,
So far, so good.
This hole is narrow, okay?
Shall I go next?
Yeah, you're next. My word.
Ran and I have been squeezing our way through these tunnels for over an hour to reach a series of tombs and treasures that have never been filmed.
You're right. You look very fine from this angle.
Thank you.
Ran has perseverance to push through, regardless, to get to that final destination and to be the first.
Once you pass this bit, it gets sound again and easy.
Age has, no effect on Ran. I don't think age will ever stop him.
Ran may be 74 years old, but even after a double heart bypass, he's still going strong.
This is called a delicate squirm, perfected in 1970 in the London sewage system with a guide called Alf. and he knew exactly where we were. And one sewer erupted over our heads, and he said, "Oh, it's 11:30. That'll be the French ambassador."
Even when we were crawling through the tombs in Elmenia, he went at his pace. No one was going to interrupt him.
The final chamber is a brand new discovery by Mohammed's team. An ancient tomb the grave robbers thankfully missed.
Tell me this is safe. If this was to give way, it wouldn't be good.
This is perfectly safe.
Really?
Yeah, it's been safe for 2,000 years.
This chamber is full of sarcophagi and untouched mummies.
What's this behind you?
Wow. This is a tin sarcophagus. It's still closed.
Still closed?
Still closed. We're the first one to have a very good mummies.
Oh, look at that face. In ancient Egypt, only the wealthy could afford the lavish protection of an underground tomb with a heavy stone sarcophagus.
This is a mummy of the man. His name is Ouija Ankh.
Ouija Ankh.
By deciphering the inscriptions on the sarcophagi, Mohammed and his team are building up a picture of who these people were.
We think that this is for the husband and his wife, okay? Yes. Okay. Look at his face here. Yeah.
Oh, yes. Gosh, doesn't look happy.
This is a mummy put in wooden coffin.
Wood coffin.
And Mohammed, in this tomb, these are all the same family, or they're all related to each other?
Yeah, same family.
This could be all Feinzers.
Wow. I hope they rest in peace, these two. Without too many of us coming in. Can you see the hieroglyphics there?
Yeah.
What does it say?
Web Rembit Nisu.
Oh.
Web Rembit Nisu. Happy New Year. We found this 31 December.
No.
2000.
Just before the new year, you found Happy New Year. No.
It's very, very good thing.
If that was in a film, people wouldn't believe it. That's incredible.
After our experiences in the tunnels, I'm really starting to feel and see what it takes to be an explorer.
This was an exquisite piece of history, beautifully preserved. It was stunning.
Actually, to go into a new room full of grinning mummies, that alone makes the whole thing well worthwhile and enjoyable.
Before this adventure started, I had just met my cousin Ran a couple of times. But after this first leg of our trip, I'm beginning to understand what makes him tick. And I think he's beginning to understand me too.
Although an actor might be different to an expedition leader in terms of their character, I've found if I had a preconceived notion of what an actor would be like in these circumstances, Joe's is completely different. I put it down to sort of family DNA.
I'm sure there are more surprises and challenges ahead, but honestly, I can't wait for the journey to continue. On the next leg of our Egyptian adventure, I get unprecedented access to one of the great wonders of the world.
Wow, Ran, this is amazing.
Get beaten up by Ran.
There was fire in his eyes. It was brilliant.
And then race him across a desert.
Come on, baby, come on!
To the Red Sea.
I'm not going to let Joe get away with this one. We're going to go faster.